Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Alison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide.
Happy Monday, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
Today on the podcast, we're going to attempt to tell the whole and unvarnished truth about, I sound serious, right?
It really does sound serious.
It is a serious
topic. Sounds like we're going to court.
We really should.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth. Listen,
Yeah.
If Alison and I can't tell our preschool peeps the truth and have them sitting out there yelling, yeah, what they said,
Rock
I don't know who
Allison
can.
and Cindy, yeah.
I don't know who can. And
Yeah.
I think that sometimes people who deep down know the truth need to hear that truth out of somebody else's mouth. And if you don't know the truth, if you're listening to this podcast, you're like, I don't know what the school year is going to look like with COVID-19. Well, let us give you some points to think about, okay? Just some points to think about. And things that people need to consider when they're planning. You know, this week in my life is a prep for school week with my consulting clients. And there are more questions than answers because this is such an unprecedented time.
Yeah.
So let's share some truths as Alison and I were talking about our individual preps for the upcoming really challenging school year.
School year. Oh my goodness.
All right.
Yeah.
So I have the list. I have the list that we were making, okay,
Right.
of the unvarnished truth.
True.
And we decided the first truth we wanted to talk about was this. The children will come in and they will play and smile and laugh and they will pretend and they will, function. But here's the thing. Young children don't have the capacity to come up to us and say, I'm really struggling with what's happening right now. It's affecting me emotionally. It's freaking me out that you're telling me so much about where I can and cannot stand, where I can and cannot sit, who I can interact with, that we can't see other people in other classes, that there are kids who are home watching us on that computer or that camera over there, that my teacher is wearing a mask. They don't have the capacity to do this. And children, what they tend to do is be children, right?
Yeah.
They tend to play and laugh and lift our spirits. But the truth is we don't know the long-term effect that the policies and procedures and practices that we need to put into place right now are going to have on these children.
Right. And like Cindy said, like they have no idea how to express that. These are very complicated emotions that we as adults sometimes have trouble expressing, but we at least have the words usually in order to tell. Like if I'm having a day, I tell Cindy, hey, this, they don't have that. They don't know yet. So they're going to play, they're going to laugh, they're going to smile.
They are, and it's going to be great.
Yeah,
it's going to be great, and I hope the adults enjoy watching that. And can we please tell the truth about the fact that there are long-term mental health challenges that are probably attached to this time we're living through too. We don't know what impact this is going to have, whether they are returning to school buildings full or part-time, or the decision was made that they're learning remotely. We have no idea the psychological impact, and there needs to be heavy concentration on what we're going to need to do in the years to come to help them with that.
Yeah, because we do not know the effects of what's going on, and we won't for years.
Mm-hmm.
Years.
We don't know what these kids are going to be like now as teenagers. They're missing out on prime socialization lessons right now, even when they're in person. I work with schools where they're they have to, because of the COVID numbers in their area, have to attempt to keep preschoolers 6 feet apart, or they have these preschoolers in these static groups where they can't interact with other classes and they can't freely walk through the hallway and they can't freely share toys. And they can't freely share their crayons, and they can't. We don't know what all this is going to do.
Yeah, I have some thoughts of what it might do, but that's exactly what's happening. It's like you have to keep in this area. You're not allowed to, even if the boy next to you says, "Hey, can I borrow your red crayon?" Nope, you can't borrow my red crayon. It's very like containing, very you know, you're put in the box, you know.
Every time I hear someone say, like, the kids in our setting are great, I'm like, you don't know that. That's the truth.
You don't know that.
You don't know that. They may be behaving just fine now, but can we please tell people the truth? And that is this. Keep an eye on your children.
Yes.
Watch for signs of stress and trauma. It usually comes out in their behavior.
Yeah.
They become either controlling or withdrawn or passive. Their behavior shifts. In some way, your behavior shifts, and we start to see challenging behaviors. So folks, please keep an eye on that, because the truth is they may be functioning, but we don't know if they are internally fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
We ready for the next one, Allison?
Yes.
Okay, here's the next one. This is the order we did them in. Ready? Here's the next one. The goals that we have for teaching children for each year of school need to shift, because catching up is the same myth it was when you and I first talked about this on a previous episode.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand this whole, like, let's catch them up. And now, oh my gosh.
And so what? And so school systems and teachers, you're gonna tie each other up in knots trying to figure out how to catch children up when everyone is in the same situation.
We're all in the same boat here. We're all in the same boat. And this boat is like this big traumatic thing that's going on. Like, there is no, like, oh, we'll just catch them up. It's not like the summer, what is that called? The summer gap where they like lose a little bit or whatever. Yeah. That's not what this is.
No, this isn't that
pandemic. Okay.
This is not a snow day. Okay.
Yeah,
look,
it's not a snow day.
This is not a snow day. This was like 5-6 months of people scrambling to teach your children.
Yeah, like
I was talking to several administrators this week as we plan professional development to start their school years and plan our consulting via Zoom and all that stuff, and we're trying to figure it all out for the work that I do. I can't tell you how many times in the past week or so administrators have said to me, the parents expect us to catch them up. And I keep saying, there's no such thing.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing. We didn't experience a blizzard where school was closed for 3 days and then they all went back.
No.
Alison is cracking up. Alison?
Because that's hilarious. I had not heard it like described as that. But that is pretty much what people, I think, are thinking. Is that like, oh, okay, they missed school for 3 days. Great, we'll just catch up on Monday. No, that's not what this is. So we were out of school for 6 months. Most of those 6 months, we weren't allowed to leave our house. Okay, this is not normal. Okay?
This is not normal. Okay, so I wish as an educational community, and I wish this in our country at the state level, would look around and say, okay, last school year, from March on was like, we did the best we could, but it's null and void.
Yeah.
So some of the goals that we had for last year are going to have to not be caught up on, but we're going to have to shift them to the spring of this year, to the end of by the end of this year, we're going to need to accomplish half of last year's goals and half of this year's goals, people. Half of the goals.
Not all the goals from this year, in addition to half the goals from last year that you couldn't fulfill. Okay, no, this isn't a year and a half shoved into 10 months. Okay, that's not what this is. It's not feasible. Okay.
It's not feasible. I really like that you enjoyed my comparison to a snow day.
Yes, because I hadn't heard it.
That's how people are treating it. Exactly, it's okay. I've heard politicians say this on their press conferences, which I watch like a crazy person because I want to see what they're saying about education, right? No, so I fast forward through much of it. But when the reporters ask about education and I hear politicians say, don't worry, our teachers are so talented that they can do 2 years worth of work in one. They can do 6 months work in a month. No, they cannot, because that's not the process of learning. So folks, you need to
We're humans.
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
Maybe you're human. I don't know.
that.
So what needs to happen now is that families and teachers actually need to come together as partners in their children's educational process and go to the boards of education where you live and say, folks, you are stressing my kid out.
Yes.
And it wasn't my kid's fault or even your fault that school morphed starting in March.
Yeah.
So please stop stressing my kid out. Wait till you all see how much homework gets sent home, how the kids are coming home like, oh my gosh, it's so much, in the places where they're trying to catch them up. So here's what I guess I'm saying. Here's the truth. Families, hello, you're going to have to help teachers advocate for your children.
Yes.
Okay.
You do.
Yes. Because I feel for your children and the pressure they're about to be under. It's not even about, you know what, people think it's about the teachers. I read this on Facebook. Well, the teachers don't want to work that hard. Folks, it's not about that. The teachers are working harder than they have ever worked in their lives. I see it every day in my career.
Goodness. Yeah.
Harder than you all have ever worked.
Hard.
It's not that they don't want to work hard. It's an unrealistic expectation.
Unrealistic. Yeah.
Of your children.
Yes.
Of not even them, of your children. You thought they had a lot of homework before? Wait for it.
Yeah.
Okay, next. I'm on a roll now. Boy,
you are
we're on a
on
soapbox.
it, man.
We are on a truth soapbox and a half here.
You are on it.
Okay, so that was kind of a message like, families, could you please advocate with us? And here's another message. Ready? This one's kind of for both families and teachers.
Yeah.
I guess. Whether the children are working remotely, in a hybrid, or in person, nobody needs your busy work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nobody needs your busy work. Okay. Like, seriously, stop giving out worksheets just because you don't know what to do on remote learning. You know, it wasn't appropriate to give out worksheets in the classroom. That just because we're at COVID times does not make it appropriate now. Okay. Just
developmentally appropriate practice doesn't change,
not
folks.
Change just because we're in crazy times right now. It's still
we have many episodes of this podcast where we talk about, there's one called, and I just posted it on a piece of social media, where somebody, a family member who's going to be homeschooling their child and is new to that, was like, where do I find the workbooks for my 2-year-old? Okay, no, you're not going to find the workbooks for your 2-year-old. And if you do, put them down. Don't waste your money. So we have episodes of this podcast, one like something about put away your flashcards. Another one was
drop the flashcards. Yeah.
Something about getting rid of your flashcards. During this crisis, we talked in some of our episodes about, not the worksheets. Children, no matter where they're learning in the early childhood years, need to be having hands-on experiences manipulating things and objects. And I just did a webinar for Advocates for Children of New Jersey on behalf of the Institute for Families. I partnered with them, or they partnered with me to do this webinar. So if any of the listeners at home, if you're working with your children at home, or you are going to be supplementing what's going on in school, or you are a teacher wondering how to accomplish what's happening in what is essentially a hybrid in most places, I would be happy to send you the link to the webinar that we just did with Institute for Families to give you some hints about how children, the process of learning and how young children can learn that. I'd be happy to share that. And I'm not sure if I put it in the page on Facebook for our podcast. I don't remember. But what I'm going to do is, after we are done recording this, I don't know. Yeah. After we're done recording this, I'm going to make sure that it's on our Facebook page called How Preschool Teachers Do It podcast. Yeah. Y'all, please watch it. We came up with really what people thought was really great advice. It's been widely watched on the Advocates for Children of New Jersey Facebook page, but I'm going to make sure it's linked there, because if it wasn't developmentally appropriate before, it isn't now, and the children still need interactive, hands-on, meaningful experiences, and that does not come from a workbook.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's on the soapbox, guys.
I am.
I love it. I love when she's on the soapbox.
The conversations that I've been having all week are...
It's just too... sometimes I just don't have the words. Like, I just, it's... That's why we're telling the truth here, guys. Okay.
Listen, again, you've given me
Gotta give the
a
truth.
stage to speak from, and I'm going to do it.
We're doing it. Okay.
And finally, Allison, I think this was our, you could check your notes too, but I think this was our last bullet point. Ready?
Yeah.
None of us know what the 2020-2021 school year is going to look like.
Right.
How it's going to be. We're making plans, but we don't know how it's going to work out with the parameters that we have and the hybrid learning and the kids are, we don't know how this is going to work out. This is unprecedented. We don't have the history to look back on for what a pandemic school year looks like. Yeah. So what that means is we need to be thinking forward and not back. I'm not sure if we recognize there's no precedent, and I've had this conversation umpteen times, okay, in the past several weeks. If we recognize that there is no precedent for this, then why are we looking back to February 2020 and trying to make it like that? That's not our precedent.
Right,
That's not, we can't, we have no way of knowing how what we're thinking is going to work, is going to pan out. So we're going to need everybody involved in education. That includes families, because they should be our partners in education.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to have to cut themselves a break and forgive themselves and learn and move and weave and bob through this school year as we learn and as it unravels.
Yeah. You have to give yourself grace. You really do. It's
a great word, Allison.
I've been using it all the time because I feel like it's the perfect word to describe this. You need to give yourself grace. This is unprecedented. You have never done this before. You might have been a teacher for 30 years. You know your children, you've raised them. We're in different times now. Give yourself grace. It's okay. It's just, we're basically, somebody was saying this, building the plane while we're flying it. Families, teachers, administrators, all of us. We have no idea if this is going to work. Plans are going to change at the last minute. You just have to kind of, all right, we're going to go with the flow. You just gotta have grace about it. You can't.
When we connected today, we got on, you were like, hi, how are you? And I said, I feel like I'm living through March again. That same
I do feel
holding
like
my breath while I'm working, that same level of brain work. And it's because on March 13th, my life was typically what it was. And on March 14th, everything changed.
Totally different. Yep.
And everything became unpredictable. And I think that maybe, look, now I'm self-analyzing. Maybe I feel the way that I do right now, like I felt like in March, because once again, I'm trying to advise people and imagine what this school year is going to look. How do we proceed? How do we do what's best? And we have no precedence and we have no way of knowing what's going to happen, just like on March 14th.
Yeah. Seriously, life changed on March 14th. But I feel
for me, it did. Everybody has a different date in March.
For us in New Jersey, it was March. Schools for me closed on March 13th. That was my last day in school. Yeah. And then March 17th or whatever was like, okay, now we're in remote. And I feel like I had from March to June to figure that out. And I feel like I did, somewhat figure out how to do remote learning with preschoolers from March to June. All right. Then it changed again because then I had summer and I got used to life there. And now it's different again. It's not even we're going back to what we did from March to June, because now it's some schools are doing full remote. Some schools are doing hybrid. Some schools are doing this. Some schools are doing that. And you're like, I can't even go back to what I did back then, which I kind of figured out. It's so evolving that you feel like you never fully have your feet planted. You're just like, okay, no, we're moving again, and it's hard. And so I felt like you today. I was like, I can't turn my brain off because I'm still, now I have to figure this out all over again.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. You know what? In March, we were kind of looking down the barrel of spring break and then summer. And now when I look down that barrel from September to June,
It's so much longer.
It's so long to figure. It's so long. And we don't know what's going to happen. How do we know what's going to happen with this virus by March, April, May? We have no idea.
We have no idea. Plus, I also feel like you have like schools that are like actually opening, like my district's actually opening, that eventually, like, when is this going to end again? We're going to go back to remote at one point. So you have that of like if they told us, like if they could predict it, it'd be like, hey, you know what, Alison, from September 8th to like November 1st, you're going to do this. And then November 1st from here, we're going to do this. So you could be like, okay, now I could plan. But you have no idea, because at any moment your governor might say, hey, you know what? Monday, there's no more school. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't plan for that. It's going to be like, it's like you can't, it's like your feet never land.
Yeah, you're right. Your feet don't land is a great simile, metaphor, whatever that was.
Yeah.
I think that though the biggest truth on this podcast episode today may have been the one that we didn't write down, and it's what you said last. The truth is that everyone needs to give each other a little grace.
Yeah. Yeah.
And give yourselves grace.
Really hard. And we're all living through this. It's all new to all of us.
And for goodness sake, there is so much teacher hate out there that I can't even believe it. Folks,
I know.
These people,
teachers.
Holy cow, what they're trying to accomplish. And the ones who are returning to the classroom and didn't head in the opposite direction, can we all give them a whole bunch of credit?
Yeah.
Not that the ones who left shouldn't get credit either. I mean, I'm sure they have their reasons, and we have to make very personal decisions now.
Yeah. No one's decision is wrong. We've talked about that on this podcast on many different topics. Whatever you decide to do for your family, for your child, as a teacher, there's no wrong answer. It's fine.
But can we please stop bashing the people who either have no choice or have chosen to return to the classroom? I see it all over social media. The bashing of the people who choose not. The bashing of the people who are going back. Enough already.
Oh,
we're supposed to be partners. We're supposed to be working together.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And we're working really, really hard.
They are.
It's more than just planning for the school year. It's a lot more just give us some grace, please, just like the parents, I try to give them grace. Like, it's new for them too. Too. Like, we're distance learning, we're hybrid learning. I got the parents who have to learn technology, grandparents who have to learn technology because they're watching the child while the parents are at work. It's a lot. It's new to everyone,
all of this, all the crazy school schedules, all the figuring out your work while your kids have only maybe a day or two in the school building all week, all this stuff. Everybody just cut each other a break. And please remember that if you're unhappy with your school's plan, the teachers didn't write that plan. I saw a meme like that on Facebook, and I was like, yes. The teachers didn't write that plan.
I did not.
Don't take it out on them.
Plan. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. If you feel that way, go to these board meetings. Go to your administrators. That's who you need to talk to. Yep. Because I didn't choose the plan. I didn't write the plan. I didn't do that. I'm just going along. But if you feel that way, then you need to say something.
Okay.
To the people who could change it. Yeah.
So if you've stayed with us on our soapbox through this whole episode, I give you a whole bunch of credit.
Yeah,
and I hope that some of the things we said struck a chord with you, but I'll bet you that our preschool peeps have more truths to share than just what we said. So when you see this posted on social media, or if you would like to contact us through our website, How Preschool Teachers Do It, which I will admit has not been updated lately, but this contact form is still up there. Please contact us, send us a message on Facebook, whatever it is, and let us know what truths we forgot to mention, because we can do another truth-telling episode once we understand how the beginning of the school year will unfold.
That's true.
Like, here's the truth. Here's what's working and not working.
All of these truths are without us being in it yet.
For sure.
Wait until we're in it.
And keep an eye on the children's behavior, because that's how they're going to express to you if they're feeling stressed.
Yeah.
Allison, what else do we need the people? I'm giving you your job back. What else do we need the people to do?
Rate us 5 stars. We want 5 stars. And did we mention the Facebook page?
I did during the episode. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but anyway, we'll mention it again. You can always go on our Facebook page and tell us your truth there. And Ask Us Anything episode is coming up. I think.
Yeah, because we're in the 90s now.
Yes, I noticed that last time. I was like, ooh, episode 90. So you got now 9 weeks to figure out what questions you want to ask us and send it to us either on our website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com, on the comments page, the Facebook page. You can go do it there.
I suspect there will be many questions starting somewhere around September 8th.
Yes, I have a feeling that is true, because that's when all the topics come up, is when you're in your school year and with your children. So
yep.
Yeah. So, but that's, September 8th, they still have 8 weeks. Okay. So, yeah. All right.
Okay, folks. We'll catch you next time on the podcast.
All right. Bye.